that note, let's go ahead and get started. So again, good afternoon and welcome everybody. My name is Rob Winkler. I'm the Vice President of MAGIC, Memphis Area Geographic Information Council. I'm pleased to welcome you to our panel discussion on skills and opportunities for GIS graduates in the Memphis area. I see a lot of people in our audience today I'm not used to seeing on our monthly webinar. I'm so glad y'all could join us. If you're checking out MAGIC for the first time, we are a nonprofit located in the Memphis area, or located in Memphis, and dedicated to promoting GIS education and supporting GIS professionals in the Memphis area. You may have heard about our recent map gallery and scholarship competitions. Last month, we awarded $3,000 in scholarships. Additionally, we provide monthly webinars geared toward professional development, and we have an annual 2-day conference in November here in Memphis. So if you're planning to stay in the Memphis area, I'd encourage you to be on our email list to learn about our monthly professional development, which you can enjoy for free. We do also offer paid membership, which gets you admission to our November conference. The student price for membership is $15 a year. So that's MAGIC in a nutshell. So today, we're breaking from our usual format into a more interactive format, a panel or roundtable type format. We have a panel consisting of folks who hire GIS professionals here in the Memphis area. And they're going to take turns answering questions. So, and we'll start with some predetermined questions, and then we'll have some time toward the end for whatever questions y'all may have. Let me take a minute to introduce our panelists. So it looks like we have them all here now. So panelists, if y'all will each take a few seconds as I come your way to say your name and your title or position. I'll start with Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, MLGW. Sarah.
Hey, my name is Sarah Russell, and I am the supervisor of our land and mapping department. We are part of commercial and residential engineering. And we do all the land, so we maintain the land database, and we do all the addressing for Shelby County.
Okay, also from MLGW, Arnisa.
Yes, my name is Arnisa Davis. Hello, everyone. I am the supervisor of our GIS, EAM, and materials development staff. So I'm on the IT side of the GIS side. I have about 7 developers that develop applications for either Sarah Russell's area, land and mapping, or our engineering areas. And we utilize GIS to map out our subdivision development and also create dashboards and different things that we use for outage management as well.
Okay, thank you. Moving over to the private sector from, we've got All World Project Management here. See Tarek.
Hi, my name is Terry Gatewood. I'm a GIS analyst at All World Project Management, a project management firm. And one of the major projects we work on is stormwater right now, stormwater program where we're basically managing all the assets and things like that, locating and condition assessment through GIS.
Awesome. Okay, now I see Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff?
Yeah, I'm Jeff Jackson with All World, administrator of GIS services. I'm basically responsible for overseeing all of All World's GIS programs and projects, and we support an end-to-end system to capture and utilize GIS content. We use the Esri Enterprise GIS solution environment, and we work on a wide variety of projects like Tarek talked about, stormwater being one of the main ones.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Going back to the government side, we have, we've got from representing Shelby County, we have Brant Solis, Brant and Marie. Brant?
Yeah, my name is Brant Solis, Shelby County Government, Shelby County Regis. I'm a GIS specialist. So we do pretty much anything GIS to do with the county. We do data management and web application development, and a little bit of everything.
Okay, and Marie, I don't see your camera on. Did you want to say something?
I'm Marie Holyfield. I'm the GIS analyst. I think Brant pretty much covered everything. If it's GIS and used in Shelby County, we pretty much deal with it.
Okay, and then also representing Town of Collierville, we have Kevin.
Hey everyone, so my name is Kevin Bingham. I am the GIS manager for the town of Collierville, and we, as you might guess, we take care of all things infrastructure related, web mapping related. We interact with several different business systems here at Collierville and support the enterprise that is Collierville.
Awesome, thank you, Kevin. All right, so that's our panel. And then, like I said, they're going to be taking turns answering your questions. And now it's my honor to introduce our moderators. We have two of them today. We'll start from University of Memphis. Please welcome Dr. Esra Ozdeneral.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm just going to give you a quick intro here. She's a professor of Geographic Information Systems in the Department of Earth Sciences, and she's also the director of the GIS Certificate Program and director of the Spatial Analysis and Geographic Education Laboratory at the University of Memphis. Esra, Dr. Ozdeneral.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to share my screen now and show our presentation related to University of Memphis and what we do in GIS. I'm a professor in the Earth Sciences Department at University of Memphis since 2003. Most of our Magic members are actually our alumni. So go Tigers. We provide a BA, Bachelor's of Arts in Earth Sciences, with 3 concentrations: geoarchaeology, geography, and geology. We also have graduate level degrees that we provide MA and MS in Earth Sciences, again in concentrations of geoarchaeology, geography, geology, and an interdisciplinary master's program. We have a GIS certificate in Earth Sciences. This program I have started in year 2006 as a traditional GIS certificate program. In year 2019, a fully online GIS certificate program. And we have approximately 200 graduates of this program. And we have a PhD in Earth Sciences. Our GIS certificate program is actually only online graduate GIS certificate degree in Mid-South. The students can choose, professionals who have an undergraduate degree can choose the program path that best fits their schedule. So they can complete coursework in a classroom or lab setting or fully online through Global degree programs. That is a hybrid or both. Another interesting thing, again, in very recent development, we only program also, we are an only program in the country to accept or offer experiential learning credit for GIS professionals. So we count 9 credits of experiential learning credit towards completion of our GIS certificate degree and also our graduate level degree programs. And we have one of our panelists here, Kevin Bingham, has used this experiential learning credit in our program. So I'm strongly encouraging GISPs to get their degrees from us. Curriculum, we offer undergraduate level GIS courses and also grad level GIS courses. The GIS certificate program, graduate level GIS certificate program, is a 1-year obtainable degree, 12 credit hours required. The first 2 courses are technical courses where students learn the software, mostly Esri. We also teach QGIS, Esri software, ArcGIS Pro, and they learn the technical side of GIS with software and also theory behind GIS, theory behind those GIS functions. The students can take elective courses. Modular GIS is an online course that we offer through our fully online GIS program. Basically, students make use of these Esri certificates, Esri training under some GIS domain topics with modules. Students can also take other elective courses. We have a variety of courses we offer: automation processing GIS, GIS and human health, open source GIS, urban geography, transportation planning, and remote sensing. We have an internship course at undergrad level and also graduate level, where students can do an intern, become an intern at an off-campus site, an on-campus site on a GIS project they work. We do a contract with the sponsor, and at the end of the semester, students get credit for this internship course. And our certificate students, undergraduates and graduate students make use of this internship course. University of Memphis has a sponsored internship program. So this is actually very good information for the private companies and government agencies. You can have a master internship affiliation agreement signed with the university, and the students, not only undergraduates, but also graduate students, can be an intern for a third-party sponsor at an off-campus site and can be paid through the university. I'm the sponsored internship coordinator for Earth Sciences, if you guys are interested in this type of affiliation. Also, I'm very excited to let you know that we have acquired drones. Just received them this month. We have a multispectral and Phantom Pro version 2 drones, and this fall I'm going to teach an honors forum for freshmen, drones applications to image processing. Well, I've also acquired drone to map software through Esri. Esri came up with a very nice suite for education licenses, so we will be teaching drones, and I'm hoping to make this a program under GIS certificate, or maybe a separate program where people can come and get their drone certification. So I'm in the process for that. But right now we're actually developing these courses. I also will do an outreach with University of Memphis Middle School, bring drones to the K-12 education. We're gonna use Tello education version drones. Some of you have taken courses from us. I do outreach GIS workshop series. And over the years, we have done this during summer, during winter break and fall break, spring break, as much as we can with availability. COVID put a break on this last summer, but we're coming back, working with the university on the logistics of how to teach it online or on campus. We're going to offer some workshops as well, and including drones, fundamentals of GIS, advanced, and other specific topic GIS courses. I wanted to also introduce some of our professors that does GIS. I am the director of GIS Certificate Program, and I teach GIS classes. I'm a medical geographer. I'm affiliated with University of Tennessee's Preventive Health Science Center, Preventive Medicine Department. I'm also interested in STEM initiatives, institutional transformation in STEM, landscape ecology, landscape change, also some of my interests. I have 2 books on spatial health inequalities and gender inequalities. I'm an advocate of equalities using GIS. Angela Antipova is another strong in GIS professor. She is teaching quantitative methods, spatial statistics, transportation geography, and urban geography. Dr. Youngsan Kwan is our programming component of GIS. He teaches open source GIS and Python and R programming, machine learning. His research specialty is biogeography. Dr. Mickelson also teaches spatial analysis and GIS applications in archaeology, and he is archaeologist but uses GIS as a tool. So these are directly professors that teach GIS and GIS courses, but overall our department is a multidisciplinary department with an interdisciplinary research, and GIS is our common language. We use GIS in the field. We do a lot of field research. We use local region as a laboratory. We also do international research. We use international settings, including Tibetan plateau. We do earthquake science, petrology, sedimentology, geomorphology, and we also chase tornadoes. So overall, a department with all of those qualities. So our students are exposed to this multidisciplinary background with interdisciplinary research. And I've been teaching GIS since 20 years. It's been a long time. So I always say, go to GIS. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Rose-Deneral. That makes me want to go back and take some more classes. Okay, so
I'm going to stop sharing.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, because we'll have Dr. Boyle share next. Let me throw in a quick mention. You introduced one of your colleagues, Dr. Youngsung Kwan, and he's actually scheduled to be our presenter for our June webinar in about 1 month. And he'll be presenting about machine learning with big data. If I could get one of my moderators to post the link in the chat. And then I mentioned we have 2 moderators, so please allow me to introduce our other moderator from Rhodes College. Please welcome, well, she's an associate professor of biology. She teaches GIS classes as well as GIS research seminar at Rhodes College, and she's the chair of the Environmental Studies and Sciences Department. Hope I got all that right. Please welcome Dr. Sarah Boyle.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see that?
Yes, looks good.
Excellent. So I want to thank you all for coming today. I see a lot of familiar faces who I haven't seen in a while because of the pandemic, but also I see current students and some alumni, which is really exciting. So I want to thank first Magic for hosting this. I think it's a great opportunity for current students and recent graduates to learn more about job opportunities here. But also I want to thank Magic for all the support you've provided over the years. So here are just a handful of photos of the many Rhodes students who've participated in your annual conference, and either through the scholarship or the MAP competition or both, have really gained some amazing opportunities to present the work that they've done. So I just want to thank you for all of these opportunities. And I encourage you all to email me if you have any questions or want to talk GIS. There's my email. I'm happy to talk with you. I also put in the chat the URL for our career services at Rhodes, because I'm going to finish up my brief presentation talking about the internship program at Rhodes. And so you can click on that link and you'll be directed to some information. So I want to kind of start off in terms of the future, in terms of our students once they graduate, what do they do? And so with GIS, I have taught students from every single major at Rhodes. And I think that's why I really enjoy teaching it, because it truly is interdisciplinary. Students have gone in all different directions. And here's just a range of examples of careers that they've pursued where they have used GIS. And so sometimes our students go into graduate programs. directly or several years after graduating. Others go directly into the job market. And so we've been very fortunate to have local opportunities. Quite a few of you have employed our students and recent graduates, and I thank you. But also we have students who go internationally and work in a variety of careers. And so it ranges from NASA to Tennessee Department of Transportation to local groups here in Memphis. So it really is exciting to be able to teach GIS. In terms of the coursework and the training, we offer, the first course in the series is just Geographic Information Systems. For a long time, it was the only course actually in GIS at Rhodes. And so I designed it to have the traditional introductory GIS course in there, but then students are exposed to spatial statistics and doing some analyses that help them in terms of pursuing research or jobs and so forth. They work on a semester-long project, and many of you have seen the results of those projects through the annual conference with Magic. And then this year was the first time I was able to offer an advanced GIS remote sensing course that builds off the first one, where students learn to use Model Builder, Python, Earth Engine for working with larger data sets, and looking more in terms of being able to be a bit more independent with their use of GIS and remote sensing. We also then offer research experience. So I've had, I'd say, dozens of students do GIS-related research with me, but it's not just directed research that students do in terms of GIS. Sometimes they involve GIS with other coursework, including some senior seminar. So I wanted to just highlight, Roberta Moore was a graduate who used GIS in her senior seminar that was eventually published in the journal Environmental Pollution. So it's really, and she now does GIS as part of her job in Georgia. And then we also have the internships, which I'd like to focus on just for the remainder of this short talk, because it would be wonderful if there would be more opportunities for our students to gain more hands-on professional experience. So again, with the internships at Rhodes College, I put the URL in the chat, but about 75% of our students do participate in an internship while they're students. And about 35% of our graduates, though, remain in the Memphis area upon graduation. So not all of them obviously have GIS background, but quite a few of them over the years do have a background in GIS. Now, in terms of the internships at Rhodes College, there are paid internships available where students work about 15 to 20 hours a week with their internship host. And then with our Masters of Science in Accounting program, those students work full-time at their placement. But most of our undergraduate students do unpaid internships for academic credit. So that typically involves about 10 hours a week during the semester, so about 140 hours total in a semester. Quite a few of you have hosted our students as interns, so thank you. And with this, with the academic credit, it allows students to gain professional experience. They do have academic reflections that they do with their faculty sponsor, but then it also allows flexibility in terms of being able to financially support an intern. So in terms of how to get started, if you're interested, if you haven't yet had a Rhodes intern, again, if you just search online Rhodes College internship or use the URL I put in there, this will pop up. And if you go to information for employers, there's information specifically about those academic internships. The application process is very direct. It's very quick to put into place. And the Rhodes College Career Services Group is very, very helpful. And I'm more than happy to connect you to them because we do want to provide more real world experiences for our students as well as for our recent graduates. So again, here's my email if you want to chat ever, but thank you again.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Thank you, Dr. Boyle. Thank you, Dr. Ostenero, our two moderators. Okay, so all of our introductions are complete. Let's go ahead and transition into the panel discussion. We're going to go start jumping right into questions here. And we, as I mentioned, we're going to start off with some predetermined questions. And those are the ones that were mostly the ones that you saw on our website, the event page. So Dr. Ozenera, will you get us started, please?
Yes, my first question is, would you please, to the panelists, would you please introduce yourself and briefly explain how you use GIS in your job? Maybe we can.
I guess we need to start somewhere. So I guess let's start with the first ones I introduced were from Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. So MLGW, either Sarah or Arnisa, would y'all want to start?
Okay. I think Sherry, you muted yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. All right. So, so in our job, what we do is we maintain our land database. So we take civil and architectural engineering drawings, and so anything that's being developed in Shelby County, we map that. And so we are using, so anybody with like an engineering or surveying background, or like the urban planning, things like that, anybody who is familiar with reading or interpreting architectural or civil plans, under reading and interpreting legal descriptions, property descriptions, things like that, that they have something to bring to the table. We do provide that type of training if they don't have that, but that would be something good for them to have if they were looking to work in our department. So we take that information. We use AutoCAD. We're not an AutoCAD shop. We are an Esri shop basically, and do mainly GIS, but we use AutoCAD in a way to just as a tool to import some of these drawings into our system, and then of course fill in the attribute data, and then so after we get the land data mapped, we assign addresses and put those addresses in our system. We share that data out with Shelby County and the local municipalities, including Collierville, Bartlett, and all those. So we maintain our address database and our street name database, and we share that information out with the other local agencies. And so we import and export data, and we also fill customer map requests. So we get a lot of map requests or data requests from local engineering firms mainly, but we do have other customer requests for data. And so that's the, I guess the bulk of what we do is just land data maintenance and then map and data requests.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
Mhm.
Okay. So this is Arnisa. And so from the other side of that, I'm on the, I guess what you call the IT side, the programming side. We have a group of developers, and we have a few maybe that's on this call we work with Sarah Russell's area, land and mapping, but also our engineering areas like electric, gas, and water, because we are a multi-utility company. So we support making sure everything is upgraded, making sure we're on the Esri platform, but we also have ArcFM, Snyder ArcFM tool added on top of the Esri platform. So because we're a utility company, we need some things that's modeled for the utility company. So those are some things. So we do development. Our language, programming language we use is C#.net. And I think we'll use a little bit of Python. So those are some things that we do. We do use the FME data interoperability tool to translate data back and forth from different systems like AutoCAD and GIS. And we use Portal. We have to stand up all of our Portal, GIS portal systems, our operation dashboards that we use for our outage map, for our internal use for our emergency our response team, as well as pushing some of the data out to what the public sees. And of course, we had the big ice storm this winter. This past January, February, whatever that date was. And we had to generate even some operation dashboards for our water system, and they have never used GIS in that way, but we did have to create some of those applications for our engineering and our public, our corporate communication area to publish out to the public. So even though we are programmers or developers, software developers, we still have to do some of the analysis work for our engineering areas, because they may not be as familiar with how to do the data analytics part of the GIS. So sometimes we get requests in to do special maps. So we utilize things like that. So we just do everything in the IT area. And we also help, like I say, with sheriff's applications that they may need to get things out. But that's what we do. I probably got more stuff, but it's so much, but yes. Anybody else?
Yeah, so I guess we have a couple people from all world. If we could just get one of y'all, Jeff.
Yeah, as the administrator of GIS services, I spend a lot of my time with administrative stuff, but I want to focus on a project that we've already talked about, the stormwater project. We're working with the city of Memphis to help with their flood mitigation activities. We have our enterprise system set up in the Azure environment. It's an in-house robust system. And I'd like to turn it over to Tarek to let him talk a couple of minutes about what we're doing with the asset management component, condition assessment of the stormwater infrastructure and so forth. Tarek, can you talk a little bit about what you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, definitely. So like Jeff said, we are managing City of Memphis stormwater, and one of the components is going out and collecting that data for all the assets that the City of Memphis has for their drainage. So day to day, like I'm going out with a GPS unit and collecting this data in real time to our geodatabase, and using Collector, which is called Field Maps now, but using that with a tablet and then feeding it back to our geodatabase in the office to Jeff, where he's able to go and QA/QC that information. But it's very cool that we're able to record that data and, like you said, condition assessment, where we're able to take pictures and things like that to see the condition of each structure and provide that back to our client, City of Memphis, basically. So that's pretty much what I do, but yeah.
Awesome. And then see, we've got two people from Shelby County. If we could just get one of y'all. Brant.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, at Shelby County, we do have a few editors doing data editing, mostly parcel mapping, a little bit of address editing, maintenance and stuff like that. But especially my position, I'm primarily working on data management, using SQL and Python, especially to kind of handle some of the automated updates that we can do and keep our data up to date. I'm not doing as much hands-on, feature editing as I've done in the past, but so yeah, managing data within the ArcGIS SD system, and also managing the ArcGIS server infrastructure that we have. So a few basic web apps and map viewers, as well as working with the county's web app development team to make sure they have what they need on the ArcGIS server side to develop custom applications.
Awesome, man. Kevin, out there, town of Collierville.
So I'm not sure what to add to all of that we necessarily do different. One thing I will say, he'll probably get mad at me, but Brant is a Python genius. So anybody that has Python questions, I see you shaking your head.
I concur.
We, of course, we keep track of infrastructure. We work, I said this in the introduction about interacting with other town systems. We do a lot of work and support for police and fire and the CAD system. So dispatch, making sure that that data is up to date. and that they have everything they need. And so we're feeding data to different systems and sharing that data, sometimes pulling data from those systems. Permit management is another one. And so we do some other support. Of course, we support departments throughout town, engineering and planning and public services. And we've done several projects related to, like Tarek was talking about, with field maps and collector, survey 123. So it feels like that we touch a lot of things at different times. That does not in any way make us experts, but we just we get some cool opportunities out here in Carterville to do some different things.
All right, great. Thank y'all. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. We're going to turn to Dr. Boyle.
Okay, so my question for the panelists is, what was your path in getting to your current position? So for example, did you obtain specific training in GIS, or did you learn a lot of the GIS skills on the job? Would anyone like to go first?
I can go first. I've been probably doing GIS for 30 years, only because I started as a student, just like you. Those that are on the call, there was an opportunity at Light, Gas, and Water that they were trying to convert their data from the paper maps to GIS, and actually Sarah Russell trained me. Can you believe that? Wow. We were so happy to get that job, you know.
Yeah, she's the expert.
But that was my path. I became a, I guess they call it, like, Gas and Water, they're just going to call you drafters, even though we're not drafters, probably GIS technicians or analysts. And so I did that. Then I got my degree and I have a BS in mathematics, but I went to Lemoyne College, but couldn't get a job at that time, but I had some GIS experience. So I then got hired on as a drafter for Light, Gas, and Water. And then when the economy got back working right, I became a programmer and was still in the GIS field. And then we went through several iterations of upgrades. So went from like GPG, Cable CAD, and now we're using the Esri platform. So still learning a lot. You never stop learning. I need to go take some of Esri's classes. But yes, and now I'm the supervisor over that area, that development area. But of course, they gave me some additional people to manage, which is our Oracle EAM and our material inventory thing. But all those things do connect because the assets come in. They got to be mapped and placed in the ground somewhere. And once you cover up a valve or something, and you got to know where it's located, especially during emergencies. So everything that I learned from putting data on the map, I also utilize in how to create applications that work best for our users or our end users, our customers, so that we can keep them safe. Our number one priority is public safety. And so GIS helps us keep the public safe.
Wonderful, thank you. Would anyone else like to share how you acquired your GIS skills? On the job or training, specific things that you found helpful?
Okay, so I'll go ahead and share. So similar to Arnisa, I just started working for Light, Gas, and Water and in the engineering department, and I was going to school part-time at night and ended up getting an associate's degree in civil and architectural engineering and got on-the-job training in GIS. So I've been doing GIS also for about 30 years and started off in business administration and switched to civil and architectural engineering. So I'm one of those people who have a passion for GIS. So I have just been happy with what I'm doing for as long as I've been doing it. So I've just stayed with Light, Gas, and Water and stayed with GIS. And I enjoy teaching other people GIS. So I've taken Esri courses as well, had opportunities here locally through the police department in Shelby County to piggyback with them to take some of these courses. So I really appreciate those opportunities. But I think networking with other people that know GIS, I think that's really a great thing to have. So just be sure that you are networking with others who have that knowledge.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Tarek, did you say that you recently, within the past year, started your position?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you mind
Yeah.
sharing your training,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah. So actually, I recently graduated from University of Tennessee. That was 2019, but actually obtained this position because I did some summer internships with the city of Memphis. And I actually had another job. It wasn't related to GIS, but it was kind of connections or whatever I had. I actually worked for, what was it, Memphis Athletic Ministries, and I was doing teaching kids. And one of the parents actually, he had a firm which was all world project management. And I got in contact with him, told him I did GIS and actually did a couple internships with the city of Memphis. And he knew a couple of people at the city of Memphis, and he gave me this opportunity to be a GIS analyst here, brought me on. And so that was actually pretty cool. But it was, as I got on from, so it was pretty much a lot of on the job experience from the internship and me getting this position and working through all the different projects I worked on here, getting more and more experience. So yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. And then Marie, would you mind sharing your experience in your path?
My path is probably a little more convoluted than most. I started out my original degree, I'm dating myself, but back in the 80s, was engineering technology. And at that time, everything was, pencil and paper, pen and ink. I had a minor in computer-aided drafting because CAD was still new. Everything was still done manually at that time. And CAD was just kind of starting to come on to the day-to-day usage. The bigger engineering firms could afford AutoCAD. The smaller firms were still doing everything manually. I worked for a civil engineer here in Memphis for a couple of years after I got out of school, and I was down at the county building one day pulling tax maps for some research, property research for a survey, and the manager of the mapping department came out and he said, you do civil drafting, right? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, we have a map tech position open. I think you ought to go apply for it. And I did. And that was like November of '89. So in January of 1990, I started with the assessor's office doing property tax mapping. I was the senior or lead mapping technician for the assessor when we went through the process of converting like Arnisa mentioned, converting all of the old paper stuff to digital. A lot of that labor was done at the University of Memphis. And I was kind of the QA/QC manager for that project, just checking behind all, the manual digitizing of some of those old tax maps. And it just kind of rolled from there. After all of my kids were in school, I went back and got a GIS engineering support degree from Southwest. And I'm, 2017, I moved from the assessor's office up to the county, and we've kind of tried to make GIS a department or a section within county IT to further utilize GIS countywide. And we've added a lot of support for a lot of different agencies. Code enforcement has now got a mapping component that they've never had before. We do a lot of support for the Election Commission. Most recently, we've been thrown under the bus to help support the redistricting efforts that will come with the census, that everybody who likes to avoid politicians would just run from. But we've been set square in the middle of that project. Like Brant says, we kind of do a little bit of everything. We do some GIS support for planning and development. We maintain all of their case file data, GIS wise, the current zoning atlas. Pretty much just about everything that's man-made above ground that's not a public utility, we at least make an attempt to map. And that's can be a handful. We are also, when Assessor Burgess came on as the local assessor, one of his first tasks was to turn the parcel mapping over to GIS and get it out from under his office. So we are now also responsible. I'm right back where I started and overseeing the property mapping as well. So most of my work has been figuring it out as I go. I have taken a ton of Esri courses. I've taken several college courses kind of as a undesignated. I hadn't really taken the time to pursue an additional degree. So just picking up little bits and pieces where I can. And I think, I agree with what Shara said, you keep those contacts. I think Tarek mentioned, it's as much who you know as it is what you know. And no matter where your passion lies, whether it's programming or application development or field work or whatever, I think having a broad understanding, if you understand how the data is captured, how the data is maintained and edited, that makes it much easier for you to understand how to retrieve that data and show it through web apps or whatever to others, whether they're just viewing it or maybe field editing to maintain or add to that data. I think the biggest asset a good GIS specialist can have is a broad base of knowledge. Don't just pick one thing that you love and ignore everything else, because it takes so many different pieces to put everything together, that I think that's the broad base of knowledge and the keeping up the relationships and the interaction with other GIS professionals is the two biggest things that people starting in their career can do.
Thank you so much, Marie. Ezra, would you like to ask the next question?
Yes, absolutely. So the next question is, what opportunities exist locally for current students or recent graduates to obtain professional experiences such as jobs, internships, paid or unpaid? Do you see potential for sponsored internships? So who should we start with? Maybe Kevin? Kevin Bingham?
Yeah, so Carterville has not done internships recently, at least. It's been several years. So, but I'm very thankful for what Dr. Boyle and Dr. Ostenderall have shared, because it's something that we need to look at, because and I'll tell you this personally, that the biggest difference in my opinion, looking back, I graduated college with my bachelor's in 1997, and looking back, the thing that made the biggest impact on my career was the experience I got when I was in graduate school. Back then, I went to the University of Memphis, and back then I had an opportunity to work with the software, and they're in the lab working with one of the professors, and it just made a tremendous impact. I had an advantage over other students that were coming out because I had hands-on experience. And so as an organization in this community, I believe that we owe it to you as students to do everything we can to provide those opportunities. So that's me calling myself out in front of each of you, saying that I'm going to work on that. I do think that it's great if you can get an internship, and there's been some information going around, do it, because all the things that Marie was talking about, that experience, you're getting that, you're making connections, and those things will last and benefit you throughout your entire career.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Shara, how about MLGW? The opportunities for students at MLGW.
So yes, so we have used interns before, and I would think that we would continue to use them in the future. Our NISA has also used interns, I believe. So she can probably speak to that as well. I'm now what I normally do is just reach out to our MLGW University and let them know that we are looking for an intern. And I think then we just kind of work through them. Our NISA may be more familiar with that process than I am. I think she's been through it a few more times than I have. If you want to speak to that.
Yeah, what I did is I posted the link in the chat room. So, and there are deadlines, but don't worry about deadlines. Just go on and apply whenever you feel like you want to do an internship. Get your name in, because you never know when we start a big project and we got to pull some students, and we just pull them in, whoever's had applied. So there is and we have co-op program as well as internship. So some things I think in the co-op you may get credit for your class. Internships, it's just usually we got a special project that's going on and we'll pull you in. A lot of time is data entry into the GIS system, but it allows you to learn how Esri works, how we utilize that data at Light, Gas, and Water, and we map everything that like I say, we map our land base, we map all of the poles, all the valves that's in the ground, all the water valves, gas valves, and we have regulatory compliances that we have to meet, especially in gas and sometimes in electric areas. So there are some things that we have to do to, if the data is not in our GIS, we will hire a group of students to put that data there. So there's always an opportunity. You never know when it's going to come up. And then if we're needing programmers, we may also have for the information systems programs for GIS developers or regular developers. But yes, there are many opportunities. Please apply.
And I would like to add to that, sometimes the work that you're assigned is not the most exciting. It might be real repetitive, but
Right.
I wouldn't turn down any opportunity, whether the project is small or large, because you're going to learn from it and you're going to be around people who you can learn from. And it not only that, it gives you an opportunity to shine. I mean, it gives you an opportunity to show your work ethics and show your abilities. And from that, you may be given larger projects or job opportunities in the future. So, I mean, that's what it's all about. The company gets a chance to see your work, and you get a chance to see if you'd be interested in working for that company, and also, for future references.
Right.
Awesome. It'd be great to hear from All World. Do y'all have any opportunities like this?
I can speak on one since I recently did an internship. I think that was actually 2018. So during my undergrad and graduation, I was able to take advantage of the City of Memphis Urban Fellows Program, which I was selected to be able to help them on. That was the Memphis Police Department, where I was actually able to go and work with the crime analysts to help them use GIS and make presentations for where concentrated crime was. And that was pretty helpful because in school, you're using all the software, but being able to actually go out and see that software being used in real world situation was pretty cool. And that actual following year after I graduated, I was able to go back, and I thought I was going to get the exact same area or sector of Memphis Police Department, but they actually put me on the fire department that year, which I was able to get a whole nother set of skills working with different software as far as them being able to create or inventory all of their police trucks and fire ambulance and things like that, which is pretty cool. So I definitely see a lot of benefit in the internships, but yeah, definitely the Urban Fellows was a great help as far as being able to further my professional skills and just GIS software, being able to learn that. So that was great.
And we've talked about the stormwater program, Rob. There may be an opportunity as an intern helping out with some of the field work. So if anybody's interested, maybe you can catch up with us at All World Project Management, and we'll see if we can help out.
All right, awesome. Thanks, y'all. So let me just touch on our schedule real quick here, because I just noticed on our website, we show this is running for until 1 o'clock. We actually are scheduled to go until 1:15, and then we're probably going to have to wrap up because I know a lot of us have to get back to work. So I'd like to do just one more question from our predetermined questions, and then open it up to the audience for any additional questions. So Dr. Boyle.
Okay, so you all have shared some really great advice, and I thank you for that. And so my last question is kind of combining two of the predetermined ones. So are there any specific skills that you look for when you're hiring, and or what advice would you give generally to students or recent graduates who do want to pursue GIS, but who may not have a lot of experience professionally?
I want to jump in here and just say the specifics we're looking for would be a little bit of everything. And most importantly is a willingness to learn. I think there's a common joke amongst government. Every government job description you look at the very bottom of the list of knowledge, skills, and ability is this little tag that says other duties as assigned. And I see all these government people laughing because they know it's true. And that other duties as assigned can be anything from sweeping the floor to going out in the field and mapping cracks in the cart path at the golf course, which Brent has been assigned to do, and he did well. He decided it would be easier to do a Survey 123 app and give it to the guys that live at the golf course and let them do it. But that's, you need to bring a good base set of skills to the table, but then have that willingness to learn, that openness to put your best effort into whatever assignment you're given. And the internships, we've used a couple of unpaid interns over the years. We've had several who've come in for a couple of weeks and then decided it wasn't for them. But we've had a couple that have been great. We've got a couple of really good data sets that were created by interns, and we still use them and try to maintain them today. But it's just that even when you're doing that grunt work, that repetitive stuff, acting like you're happy to be there and being open to learn something new, try to figure something out, try to be open to new things is I think that goes a long way toward making you a good candidate for a position.
That's excellent advice. Thank you. Anyone else have advice or specific things that they look for in candidates?
I guess from the light gas and water side, from the development programming side, I know a lot of people think, oh, I got to have a computer science degree or I have to have an engineering degree. But in the GIS area, we open it up across degrees because a lot of times you can't find people with GIS experience that's in the computer science. I'm hoping that Ezra and the computer science group, or Sarah and your computer science group, kind of combine or join forces, and that would help us. But what we've had to do is we may hire somebody who has a bachelor's degree in geography, but they have taken maybe 12 hours of computer courses, and probably some of those courses that Ezra and Sarah are teaching can count as computer courses. But we would like for you to at least take C# for .NET or even a C programming class or Java or Python, something like that. But some of the other GIS computer courses could count towards those 12 hours that we say you have to have. So we say you got to have a bachelor's degree plus 12 hours of computer courses. So at Light Gas and Water to come in the programming side of it. Now Shara's side may be a little bit different, so she can talk to that.
Yeah, I would like to add to that. At the University of Memphis, I'm on the committee for that. That's why I know about it. There's a data science program, data science master's, data science certificate, and they have GIS as elective and core courses for that data science program. So, so there's this kind of developments where GIS is part of data science now at the university.
I did want to add one thing. So echoing what Marie said, because that was great. That foundation is really important, but it's also incumbent upon us as managers and organization to support your professional development when you come in. And so there may be things that you don't know and you don't understand, but that's okay. If you come, like Marie's talking about, if you come to us, become part of our organization, you have a good attitude, hopefully there are going to be things that we can teach you. Of course, things you're going to have to learn about our organization, but things that we've experienced and know. And not only that, here at Carterville, we're very blessed because we have thousands of dollars budgeted each year for training, for professional training. And so that is for the development of our staff and for our ability. So just I really appreciate what Marie said, because a good attitude and also being easy to deal with and getting along, that is so critical. And when somebody comes to you, I mean, we provide customer service, and you need to be good at dealing with people and talking with people. Sometimes people come to me and want something and they don't know how to vocalize it, right? They don't know GIS, but they have a problem that they need solved. And so it's important to be a good listener and then be able to understand what that problem is and understand how GIS may be able to help solve that problem.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yes, so I'd like to add to what Kevin was saying, because I actually made some notes about how I wanted to respond to that question. And so one of those is that when someone comes to you and they're needing something, like he was saying, sometimes they're not real sure exactly what to ask for. So you ask questions. So we want somebody who's good with critical thinking and analytical skills, and just being able to work with people, work well as a team. Sometimes you may not have all the answers, but you're going to have to go to somebody else who might have those answers. So you need to be able to build good relationships with your coworkers and your teammates, and because if you don't have that, you're not going to feel good to them when you need help, and there's going to need help from you. You need to be able to say, how are you going to be using it? Because they come to us and they'll say, I need a map that shows streets and the county boundaries and this and that. They only need the major roads and expressways and the main roads or something like that. But so you have to know what questions to ask, because sometimes they think they know what map they need, but then afterwards you determine, you actually are the one that determines what they need.
Wonderful, thank you. Anything else? I know we wanted to have time to open it up so people could ask questions.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. So again, thank y'all for all those wonderful answers. That I wouldn't be able to add anything to that wasn't already covered. But we do want to give a little bit of time here at the end to open up to any questions that y'all may have come in with that we may not have already covered. So I believe everybody has the ability to turn on their mic. Just click, if you want to ask a question, either type it in the chat or just hit that little microphone button in the lower left corner of your Zoom screen.
There are no questions in the chat so far.
And if nobody has questions, I do have a couple. We could go back to the questions we didn't get to yet. But let's just give it a minute, see if anybody wants to be brave.
I just want to say we will have a position coming out on our posting in the next few weeks that is a test water. They may not necessarily seem like they're GIS, but if they have any you kind of have to. Our drafters are really not the normal drafters that, you know, back in the day, you used to have to hand draw everything. There's very few areas that's left like that, and using AutoCAD all the time. But most of the people that's coming in as drafters or, and I can't remember the other names for those positions, but those positions most of the time are going to be using ArcGIS to do their work, and they'll export it out to AutoCAD and do some extra stuff. But I do have a programming position that's coming up. So if you have a bachelor's degree and you have at least 12 hours of computer courses, then, and we'll give it to Magic to post out once it actually goes out outside on the board.
And so as far as land and mapping goes, we do currently have a position, but it's not a permanent MLGW position. It's a contracted position through a vendor, a contracted service. And so if you're interested in that, I can put that in the chat, but it's through CTD Staffing. And so you can contact them if you're interested in that. So, but it is a full-time GIS technician position. So we are currently trying to get our drafter jobs retitled to GIS technician. So currently the job titles are address assignment clerk, drafter 1, and drafter 2. So we're in the middle of a reorg and getting those retitled, but that we're not quite there yet. So in the interim, we are hiring through the contractor, and that's who we're working with to get our GIS technicians in.
Okay, awesome.
So we've got one person that's already applied, one person that's applied for one of those that we're interviewing. I'll provide that information.
Hello, I have a question. So this seminar kind of highlighted all the interdisciplinaries that GIS has to offer. So is there one specific or any blanketed programming or application that someone could be familiar with to kind of encompass all the disciplinaries? So if you don't really necessarily know which one do you go into, but you have a skill that's mostly encompassing all of it, if that makes sense.
The one, according to me, the one that encompasses all is the spatial thinking. Like to learn about Earth. At the end, this data development, data is about Earth and helping the society. So problem solving skills and spatially thinking is the number one of all. Then the technical skills comes along. So learning about Earth, learning about geography, learning about, spatial science component of it is the number one, according to me.
Okay.
Can we go with one more question for open discussion?
Yeah, if anybody else in the audience has a question, otherwise I can throw one out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we don't have any other audience questions, I'm gonna, let's wrap up with one final question. I'm gonna combine I'm gonna take a variation on one of our questions that was our predetermined question. Where do we see the GIS profession in the next 5 to 10 years on the medium-term horizon? Is GIS going the way of the secretary/typist, or is GIS here to stay? Any panelists?
Well, I think it's here to stay. And I think based on the last year we've had with the pandemic, we saw GIS being utilized. And then this past winter with our main breaks in the street, oh my gosh, we had main breaks everywhere. And even in people's houses, and GIS is what helped us to know where they were and how to resolve those issues pretty quickly. And we had to teach people that didn't normally use GIS, how to use it, how to collect data to get our system back up and running, and to make sure that the water was safe to drink. We probably haven't, since I've been living here, I don't ever remember having a boil water alert. So that was something new, and how we had to send data to the state. And how do we get that data to the state? we had to use GIS to do that. So we had to create collector apps to go out and test pressure at fire hydrants and all over the city where people say, I'm not getting any pressure in my water. So I think GIS is here to stay. So learn as much as you can. And no matter what company that you're going into, you're going to utilize it in some way or fashion.
I think from the education standpoint, GIS is to stay, but the way we teach GIS, the way as we started GIS is changing. I started with command line arcing for look where we are at now with enterprise GIS, and now GIS is more and more online. The change is not going to be much with GIS people in terms of learning and updating all the time, but non-GIS users will be more empowered by applications available to them online. And the kitchen of GIS is going to be always there. We're going to be doing it, but there's going to be more internet and intertwined with programming and internet. And it's not going to be maps anymore. It's apps. So we're not going to be only teaching maps, but we're going to be teaching apps, and we're teaching apps. So I don't know what is next. Yet to
Yeah, I definitely agree with I don't think, just basic data editing won't ever completely go away, but towards crowdsourced data collection, using all the tools available through it. You're seeing a lot less one person in front of a computer with ArcMap open, clicking points on an aerial photo. And you're seeing a lot more of, like Marie mentioned, the pavement crack inventory. I could have gone out with a GPS unit and collected all of those myself and put it into our GIS database, but it made a lot more sense to give the guys who are already out there an application where they can just pull up an iPad, click a button on the screen, and collect that data. And then I'm doing all the categorizing everything on the back end to help maintain that. And it's again kind of crowdsourcing that data collection rather than being focused on one person in front of a screen clicking points.
Got time for one more. Anybody else want to respond?
the workplace infrastructure has changed in terms of GIS. Maybe panelists can talk about that. That computers, the hardware was the only thing we had, hardware and people. But now there's more infrastructure needs to be set for GIS.
Well, I guess it's not just like you say, a computer. I know with the water, with the main breaks, out into a quick web app. So everything is going to the web. We have lots of servers, of course. So there is pretty much, we have to have, it used to be IT or our server management and our, they would try to do everybody's server. So now we have dedicated DBAs, we have dedicated GIS technical people. So you kind of have shifted to this, everything has to be managed by, the GIS developers, the GIS DBAs, the GIS, analysts and so it's almost like we need GIS area, but they haven't really got that far. GIS, so she's a GIS, and so So that is okay. I was to get them to get what they call it, like I think in them GIS, so she's over there, managers or directors, and we may not get there while I'm, it's kind of where they need to go, where you actually have managing all the aspects of the experience there.
And I know it's 1:15, but any experience with being a GIS brought to you guys?
I think as somebody who is closer to retirement than I am to graduation, I think for somebody that's at the beginning of their career, I think it's important because it shows that dedication to the participation, because you can't just get a degree and get a GISP. It takes that other networking and conference, those other components that go with it. And then now, especially that it has the comprehensive skills assessment, I think it makes it more valuable for somebody just starting out. I think it when you're comparing applicants, somebody who's gone to the trouble to complete that process, that's one more notch to their betterment, to make them stand out more as an applicant than somebody who just, okay, I got my degree and now I'm looking for a job. And I think it just kind of depends on where you're at in your career. But since this is more student-based, I would say it's definitely worth the effort for the students to have. And the other thing is potentially look at your employment candidates. For instance, Shelby County will pay for your training. They'll pay for your GIS, the dues and the testing fees and all of that. And they pay for the fees to do the renewals. So it is, and we also have a certification stipend, I guess you would call it, bonus, whatever. There is a little bit of financial incentive on top of you not having to pay for your membership. You also get a little extra money in your pocket. So it can work both ways.
All right, awesome. Well, we've passed 1:15 already. Thank y'all so much for all that great input. We're going to go ahead and wrap up here. I'm going to just let you all know that we have been recording this and we will post this on our YouTube channel. Probably within the next 24 hours, the link should become available and we'll email it out to y'all. And again, I'm just going to wrap up real quick here. Thank you all for participating today, and we hope we can put on another event like this in the future. And thank you all very much for attending. And again, we'll have the recording posted. We'll also email out the chat that'll have all those links for you as well. All right, everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.